Finding a supplier first can become your first mistake. In the next 10 minutes, you'll learn why international traders who start with a product first get trapped, how to validate demand, and what to do before sourcing anything. If you're building an import-export business, but your actions are creating activity instead of qualified trade opportunities, this channel is for you. My name is Gazki, I'm director of Gazki Limited. Since 2012, we've built and managed international trade flows between Ukraine and more than 25 countries around the globe, generating multiple millions of euros in turnover across physical, industrial products, and professional business services. Everything I share comes from real deals, those that worked and those that did not. First, I'll show you how starting with a supplier creates pressure. Then, we'll replace that approach with a buyer-led process. And at the end, I'll give you one test that tells you whether you have a real opportunity or only an interesting product. So you want to start out as an international trader. Through a personal connection, you find a producer of fertilizers. The factory is real, the capacity looks impressive, the price appears competitive, and the supplier says he can deliver several shipments every month. You become excited because this feels like an opportunity. But you don't have an opportunity yet because you have a supply. And supply without validated demand is not a trade opportunity. It's inventory looking for a problem. The moment you emotionally commit to that supplier, you inherit pressure. Pressure to find a buyer, pressure to convince someone that this product is attractive, pressure to defend a price no buyer requested, pressure to make logistics, documentation, financing, and your commission fit together. The supplier begins asking, potentially at some point, have you found anyone? When can we move? How many containers can your buyer take? Now you're no longer studying the market. You're trying to justify a decision you already made. This is the first important distinction. The supplier, a competitive price, a factory offering you exclusivity, even direct access to the producer, none of them is the opportunity yet. The opportunity begins when a qualified buyer has a real purchasing problem, the authority and ability to buy, and a reason to consider a new solution, your solution potentially. Until that exists, everything else is what I call infrastructure without electricity. The cables may be connected, the machines may be ready, but the business is not alive. Product-first traders often spend weeks building supplier lists, studying Incoterms, preparing company profiles, connecting with executives, and asking artificial intelligence to explain letters of credit. All of this can feel highly productive, but ask yourself one uncomfortable question. Have you spoken to an actual buyer about an actual purchasing problem yet? And I'm not talking about adding them on LinkedIn, not liking their posts, not placing them in a spreadsheet. Have they told you what they need, what is wrong with their current supply, and under what conditions they would consider an alternative? If not, you're preparing, but you're not validating. Many new traders say, I haven't contacted buyers because I'm not ready yet. They believe they need to understand every certificate, document, payment instrument, and logistical risk before saying hello to a procurement manager. That sounds responsible, but it can become sophisticated procrastination. You cannot prepare for every possible transaction because you do not yet know which transaction matters. A buyer importing refined vegetable oil, for example, has different requirements from one purchasing animal feed ingredients. The buyer conversation, only the buyer conversation, tells you what you need to prepare for. Perhaps you're thinking, I only have one chance with this buyer. I don't want to look like another inexperienced middleman. I don't want to waste an important person's time. And I don't want to burn this contact. That fear is understandable, but sending an unsolicited product offer is precisely what makes you look like an unqualified intermediary. Professionalism does not mean pretending to know everything. Professionalism means asking relevant questions, defining what you can do and cannot do, and taking responsibility for a clear next step. We made the same product-first mistake in our early years. We found suppliers and products, became excited about their potential, and then tried to find a company willing to buy them. Later, we reversed the process. We developed relationships with buyers in specific industries. We learned what they purchased repeatedly, where their existing suppliers were failing, and what improvement would justify testing an alternative. Only after receiving a real inquiry did we search for the right source. That shift from supplier-led trading to buyer-led trading became a foundation for businesses generating multiple million euros in turnover. The difference was simple. We stopped carrying a product into the market and started carrying a buyer problem back to the supply market. On this channel, my goal is to help aspiring and operating international traders validate demand, reach real buyers, qualify opportunities, execute deals more consistently, and build repeatable systems for profitable deal flows. If this material is useful, like the video, share your experience in the comments, and subscribe. Now let's turn this principle into a practical sequence. Start by selecting a narrow buyer segment. Not companies that buy agricultural products. That is not a segment. If we stick to my early examples, a better starting point would be regional animal feed manufacturers importing specific ingredients, or food processors that purchase refined oil in predictable volumes. You're not yet choosing what to sell. You're choosing whose purchasing process you want to understand. Focus allows you to learn the language, buying cycles, specifications, risk, and recurring supply problems. Your first message should not say, "We can supply a high-quality product at competitive prices. Please send your requirements." That message gives the buyer no reason to respond. Your objective is to discover, what do they purchase repeatedly? What problems occur with existing suppliers? When do they review new sources? What specifications or commercial conditions are non-negotiable? You're not trying to close a shipment during the first conversation. You're trying to earn enough relevance for a second one. A buyer saying, "Yes, we purchased that product," is not enough. A qualified inquiry contains substance, the required product and specification, the expected volume, the destination and delivery schedule, the commercial or payment expectations, the reason they might change a supplier, and the process by which a new supplier is tested and approved. Now you have something valuable. Not a guaranteed deal, but a defined problem that can be investigated. Only now you should approach the supply market. Instead of saying, "I have fertilizers, who might buy it?" you can now say, "I have a buyer reviewing an alternative source for this specification, this volume, delivered to this destination within this time frame." Your supplier search becomes focused. You can compare several realistic options instead of becoming dependent on the first factory that you get access to through a warm connection. Most importantly, the numbers no longer need to be forced. They either work against the buyer's requirements, real requirements, or they do not. Bring the buyer 2 or 3 credible options. Explain the differences in origin, price, lead time, payment structure, certification, and risk. Do not simply forward documents between 2 parties. Interpret the information, identify gaps, coordinate the next steps. This is where an intermediary starts adding value. Your value is not that you know somebody who owns a factory. Your value is that you can reduce uncertainty and move a qualified opportunity towards a safe transaction. Your first objective does not need to be a vessel, a year-long contract, or an exclusive distribution agreement. You don't even have the resources for that yet. It may be a sample, a trial quantity, 1 container, 1 truck. The exact size depends on the product and industry. A controlled first transaction allows the buyer to test the product and allows you to test the supplier, documentations, logistics, communication, and payment process, everything that comes with it. Credibility is not built by promising a massive deal. It is built by completing the next realistic commitment properly. Before you invest more time in any product, apply this test. Can you name the specific buyer? Can you explain the buyer's purchasing problem? Do you know why the buyer might consider changing? Do you understand the minimum conditions for a trial? And has the buyer agreed to one concrete next step at least? If you cannot answer those questions, you do not have yet a qualified opportunity. You have a sourcing idea. Treat it accordingly. In this video, we established 5 key things. Supply is not demand. Starting with a supplier creates pressure to sell and convince. Buyer conversations determine what you actually need to prepare. A qualified inquiry must come before serious sourcing, and the intermediary creates value by reducing uncertainty, not by forwarding offers. Remember, the market does not care which product you're excited about. It cares which expensive, urgent, recurring problem you can solve. So stop beginning with, "What can I sell?" Start with, "What does this buyer struggle to purchase?" And one final thing, I'm currently researching the challenges entrepreneurs face when launching and growing international trade businesses. If you're trying to find buyers, validate demand, execute your first transaction, or scale existing trade, I would genuinely value your perspective. You'll find my contact details below this video. This is purely for research purposes. If this helped you, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for being with us, and see you in the next video. Bye.